Hi, so we're going to continue on to the next portion of the Waters Commercial Contractors Incorporated SIDS system, moving on to the work breakdown structure. Here we have the work breakdown structure that I created, breaking everything up into 5 individual tasks: the organizational analysis, the application design, application construction and implementation, application testing, and closeout approval. Moving on from these tasks, you can see with the color coordination that it moves down the tree, moving into subtasks such as establish organizational structures, appoint user sponsor, establish vision and scope of project, create project overview, committee, establish project plan, define funding approval process. Moving on to application design, establish the software requirements and specifications, define database system, define user interface system, define user story, tasks, and deliverables, assign tasks and deliverables, establish weekly system definition audits. Then we go to the application construction and implementation for hardware component selection, application of hardware requirements, application of software requirements, creation of database system, creation of user interface system, software unit coding, software unit debugging, deliverables tracking subsystem, system oversight audits. Moving on to application testing plan, unit testing preparation, conduct testing, measure deliverables. Then finally, the closeout approval for assemble user support team, user training, technical training, quality assurance, and overview committee approval. Now, the reason that I went ahead and listed all of these and mentioned the subsections is because we're basically going to be working off of this work breakdown structure for the rest of this presentation. Moving on, we see the work breakdown structure dictionary. Here, what we're doing is we're taking each individual task and we're assigning a description. For instance, we have the organizational analysis, which the description is conduct an analysis of current organizational procedures and policies to ensure application compliance. The next one is establish organizational structure. Evaluate and determine organizational workflow and dependencies. Essentially, we are just defining what each task is going to be, as well as assigning a ID to each task. The next section will be the milestone list project schedule network diagram. Now, I created 2 parts of this to make it a little bit easier to see. And essentially what this diagram shows is it's the start to finish of the project. Listing all the different tasks and how they communicate with one another, whether they can be ran parallel to one another or if one is dependent on the other. So we see appoint user sponsor. That must be done first prior to organizational analysis or establish vision and scope of project. Moving on to application design, we then see define user story. Moving on right here, define user story, tasks, and deliverables. You can see the arrow pointing here and then moving on to assign tasks and deliverables. The reason why is because until we define them, we can't assign them. So you're going to see that task moving from one to the other and then back down to application construction and implementation. So we move on to the second part of the diagram, and you can see where we have the project finish. And we're just following along, going to application testing, closeout approval, and you can see how each task relates to one another. Next, we see the activity resources requirements. Here, sorry, it's a little hard to see. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, I could move this down a little bit in there. Okay, so we have the activity resource requirements. We see the same ID, we see the same activities, and all we're doing is providing a resource for each activity. Now, a resource is an individual within the organization who is responsible for completing that task. Here we see organizational analysis. That's the responsibility of the project lead and the sponsor. Establish organizational structure. That's the responsibility of the sponsor. So we're just establishing who takes responsibility and who is going to complete that task. Next, we have the resource breakdown structure. Now, piggybacking off of the activity resources requirements, we're essentially just breaking this table down into who the resource is. So we have the owner, the sponsor, the project leader, developers, and if you can see it, the departmental staff. Now, we're going to go ahead and take the owner and move on to a specific ID and the activity that person is responsible for. The reason why we break it down in this way is so we can see who has a heavier workload or who is responsible for too many tasks. Basically, to prevent somebody being overloaded and us waiting on one individual, where we can actually break up that task into, say, the project leader assigning a developer a specific task so that we stay on schedule. Moving on, we can go on to the activity durations estimation. So here is the same thing. We list the activity, we list the ID, but what we're doing differently is we're establishing an estimation of the days to complete each section, each activity. The reason why we're doing this is because maybe an activity takes 2 hours a day. That's going to take us 3 days to complete because somebody has other tasks that they need to complete simultaneously. So we're just estimating the days that's going to take so we can come up with a project schedule. The next is the activity cost estimate. So here, somewhat similarly, we're piggybacking off of one another and we're creating the ID, the activity, and the resource responsible. What we're doing differently is we're establishing the hourly wage of that resource. So we can see here where the project lead is making $40 an hour, the sponsor is making 48, the owner is billing at 75, let's see here, a developer is at 32, and we're taking that individual activity and we're assigning the hours required for completion. Now, like I said before, it may be 3 days, but 2 hours a day. So if that's the case, you're going to end up with 2 hours a day, 3 days, you're at 6 hours for that task to be complete. So we're breaking it down with the hourly or estimated hours required for that activity. As you can see, 12 hours, billing at $40 an hour, results in a cost estimate of $480. We're going to go ahead and add up all of these cost estimates for all the activities, and we are going to create a total cost estimate of $31,389. Now, why that's crucial is for budgetary approvals, weekly expenditures, things of that nature. Bringing us to the budgetary forecast. Now here what we're doing is we're establishing weekly budgets based on salaries, equipment, hardware, software, and miscellaneous. Establishing from the previous table the costs associated with salary, the initial startup for equipment, hardware, software, and miscellaneous, and we see our week 1 budget is going to require $11,562. Now in week 2, we went ahead and we estimated the salaries based off the project schedule, but we went ahead and implemented a standard equipment cost, hardware cost, software cost, and miscellaneous costs to account for any unforeseen circumstances. Say we need to come up with a new tablet. Say we need to come up with a new mouse for one of the developers. Anything that comes up, we have a small budget for allocations of funds. And so the total for the project, adding up the 5 weeks for completion, comes to $50,425. Now, this is crucial because during the funding approval process, we're going to need to go ahead and seek the approval of the committee from week to week or every 2 weeks, depending on the project schedule. And that concludes this section of the project. Thank you.